Things you wouldn't believe about Destiny if we told you, say, 5 years ago. The game has had a lot of crazy, welcomed, and interesting additions over its development. Some of these are features introduced over the years, others crazy elements from the story. These are in no particular order, and I'm sure I missed a lot, so leave your own in the comments. Let's start off with a crazy one some of us already have forgotten about. Season of the Deep let the Guardians explore the depths of Titan for mysteries about the Witness. It also introduced fishing across the solar system. The killing Guardian machine defenders of the last city on Earth when they're not destroying gods can be found on various planets chilling at the docks. The European Dead Zone, the swamps of the Throne World, or Radiolarian Lakes of Nessus, just chilling. If you haven't played Destiny in over a year, yes, you can catch fish, fill them up in your aquarium, and get loot. The fish also have some pretty crazy names and references to the game. Ignition Toad like Ignition Code, Gnawing Hungar, Salvager's Salmon, and tons more. We've had sparrows for a very long time. They first were just simple vehicles to traverse larger environments. Eventually, along the way, Bungie added customization options like horns and even sparrows that did flips and tricks. Yeah, at the start there was only certain sparrows that did that. Us players were all pretty surprised this year when in the Guardian games we got a new vehicle in the Skimmer, a hoverboard, allowing you to launch into the air, grind around at your heart's content, and even complete some epic tricks. This thing allows for some much different traversal than the Sparrow, grinding over obstacles, an option to boost infinitely, although I think the Sparrow now has that too, but it is a nice welcome change and something fun to mess around with. It would be cool one day though to have a multi-Guardian vehicle like a Warthog for example, but hoverboards are pretty cool. This one's nothing too huge, but it's the only example I could think of across the whole game. Europa's snowstorms, this dynamic weather system. How cool was this idea when it was released? Sure, it can be annoying to have your vision obscured by snow and fog sometimes, but it really fit the environment and story of this ice hunk of a moon. The dynamic weather system was never used anywhere else, but weather was not something I had thought of before. What if it was able to rain in places like the European Dead Zone, or snow in old Russia's Cosmodrome? I remember the Destiny 1 version of the Cosmodrome felt like it had much more snow, so although it's a small feature, it would be cool if you just sat there and snow would build up over time, kind of like the system from Days Gone. Next up, crossovers with other games. How many have we had just in the last couple of years? Fortnite, Fall Guys, Assassin's Creed, God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us, The Witcher, Mass Effect, Ghostbusters, and that's just in Destiny. Destiny content has appeared in some of those games as well. Next to crossovers, we had an entire event in the 30th anniversary event that brought a ton of Halo, Marathon, and Myth crossovers to Destiny 2. References from Bungie's previous titles. Also, Gjallarhorn came back, one of the most legendary weapons in the entire franchise. Crossplay and cross-save. These two are huge. Years ago, it was something we wished for and hoped for, not just in Destiny, but in most of our games, and it became a reality. Being able to switch consoles, go from say Xbox to PlayStation or PlayStation to PC, and be able to play with friends across those platforms was a huge game changer. This united the entire community rather than splitting up consoles and PC environments. As a console player, you can find PC players out there in Patrol or, unfortunately, in Crucible matches. This is something I'm sure most of us take for granted, but it's a great feature and I'm glad it's in the game. I remember the early days of Destiny where players spoke about trading. Bungie even tested that at one point. The way we earn weapons has always been a huge part of the game's mechanics, and Witch Queen introduced a huge change into the game in craftable weapons. Guardians were now able to head to the Enclave on Mars and shape their own tools of destruction, custom perks, mementos, and patterns. Yes, you would have to earn these weapons out there in the wild to unlock those patterns to be able to craft, but this was a complete game changer for Guardian builds, customization of these weapons, and how Guardians played the game. The elimination of light level for seasons or power level. Power level is the way Guardians kept up and grinded with the game for years. It used to be, I believe, a 40 or 50 point increase for expansions, I think it still is, and then it was 10 per season. But starting just recently, larger expansions would increase your power level, but seasons had no change. You wouldn't have to grind a 10 power increase each season, which most people enjoyed. Personally, I'm kind of on both sides. I like not having to grind, but it also kept me away from the game at some times as I felt there wasn't much to do after the story for that week was complete. In the earlier days of Destiny 2, it was sort of a ritual, hop on each week, do my pinnacles, see how far I can get my power, but I guess it just comes down to the player. Savathun would use Osiris's body and hide in the last city. Think about how crazy this one is looking back on it. Savathun, a hive god who's destroyed countless civilizations, was in our city for 3 seasons. The 4th even in crystal form, so that's almost a year of time as the game's story is canon with real life time, that Savathun was influencing our Guardian and characters of the city's story.
Who is Savathun, you ask? You already know. Oh, Guardian mine. I am your friend. I tried to protect you from the Black Fleet. You called it interference. Don't worry, I was not offended. Instead, I found a form more pleasing to your eyes. I ferried the reborn prince to your city so he could be redeemed. I protected Zavala from Kaido's ambitions, ending a war before it could even begin. I delivered the House of Light on its knees to Ikora. I unmasked the enemies lurking inside your city's walls and destroyed them.
Empress Kaido, the Cabal, and Elixni allies. Beyond Light seasons were crazy story-wise. Aldrin Sov was back as Crow. Savathun became a crystal and needed Mara's help. And the other two, alliances with some of humanity's biggest enemies, Kaido in Chosen and Mithrax and the Elixni in Season of the Splicer. Since then, these characters have become some of our closest allies. Their forces are in the city. They assist our Vanguard leaders and even the Guardian through intense missions, like when Kaido helped us defend Veil Containment in Lightfall, which was pretty fun.
Guardian, it's our day to die. We shall be immortalized in legend together.
Retreat to higher ground. You need a more defensible position.
This way, Guardian. We'll safeguard the vault together.
Daughter.
Alice? What is... Guardian! Kaido! Are you okay?
The Veil's exposed. Keep them away from it, at all costs. Leave the Emperor to me.
Amaru and Savathun also helped us to some extent, so these alliances have become quite the story over the years. Since the beginning of Destiny, the light was always known as the good, darkness, evil. The good guardians wield the light and protect the last city from our enemies. That line of thinking was flipped on its head when in Witch Queen, Savathun and the Hive were granted the light. Enemies would wield the powers we had for years, and the Witch Queen herself was changed, even managed to bring the Traveler to her throne world for a period of time.
That was Savathun. Hurry. That's Void Light. No, that's impossible. Is that a ghost? It can't be. Get me closer, Guardian. I have to see. Can't believe it. Ghost building the hive! We have to stop its ghost. There's no other way. That thing is not like me. You see that, right? I can't believe this.
The last city is not the last city. Savathun said it, but who would have thought it would be true? Lightfall showed us this reality. An alternate version of humans have been thriving since our collapse beneath the clouds of Neptune. Cloud Striders and superhuman defenders, humans that live in tech digital realms like the Cloud Ark, and an alien artifact of darkness that is the Traveler's counterpart, its mirror. In Destiny 1 10 years ago, Xur told us your Traveler has a dark mirror. And I remember so many speculation videos and theories about what that could mean, and in Lightfall we found out it was true, and there was an entire city surrounding it. In the Taken King, Oryx was destroyed in the King's Fall raid in his throne world. Years after, we would hunt his sisters as they would follow threads and Nahamkara wishes throughout the Dreaming City. In Season of the Deep this past year, we learned that Oryx's body fell into the depths of Titan's oceans. And it was here where the Lucent Hive were trying to bring him back to life with a ghost. Despite their failure, we learned that Oryx's worm escaped and likely still exists if it found a host. His body also pulsed with remnants of life. How about this one? Actually encountering the darkness or learning more about it. 10 years ago, when we first heard of the darkness, it sparked questions instantly. What was it? Why does it hate humanity and the Traveler?
I could tell you of the great battle centuries ago. How the Traveler was crippled. I could tell you of the power of the darkness, its ancient enemy. There are many tales told throughout the city to frighten children. Lately, those tales have stopped. Now, the children are frightened anyway. The darkness is coming back. We will not survive it this time.
We've learned a lot since then. Darkness is just a force of nature and can be used by those with good or evil intentions. We even use darkness ourselves in Beyond Light in Stasis and Strand in Lightfall. The darkness, or rather the malicious entity behind its use, would arrive one day. Pyramid ships swarm Sol System and engulf whole planets, and in Witch Queen it was revealed. The Witness, an ancient species who merged their minds together to create one being. One being hell-bent on uniting the Traveler and Veil and achieving the final shape, the end of the universe in this perfect form. When the speaker first told your Guardian about the darkness, imagine this thing popped up. Here's some other honorable mentions that some of my friends brought up. You got loadouts, in-game LFGs, and some crazy dances. Anyway, Guardians, that's all we got for today's video. As I said, I'm sure I missed some, and be sure to leave your own thoughts in the comments down below. This game has changed for better and for worse over the years. Additions like the event card and certain microtransaction changes have happened as well, but we're trying to focus on the positive things. Point is, this game has changed a lot. If you'd like to see some more Destiny lore and mysteries just like this video, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.